Sorry.
So, hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Sofia and I work for Agile 42 Sweden and Finland and international. And today we are really happy to have our, how should I say, friend, client, Cecilia Kåhrström from Swedbank joining us. As some of you maybe know, together with Agile 42, Swedbank wrote a success story about work that we did together with them. And this is a little bit what's gonna be discussed today. Also with me, I have my Swedish colleague Giuseppe de Simone here, and he and Cici are going to walk you through the story and the work that we have been doing together. But before I let them start, one small second. I'm going to let you know about the agenda of today. So there's going to be this small introduction from me, then Cecilia is going to present Swedbank, then there's going to be a little bit of a discussion between Giuseppe and Cici, and then we will take all the questions that you have in the end of the webinar. We're using Zoom today, and you can chat with us whenever you like to during the session. And I really wish that you put all your questions in the Q&A section. So we will have Cici and Giuseppe answering your questions in the end of the webinar. The webinar is also recorded, and the recording will be shared with everyone listening today in an email and also on our blog posts, on our website, and on our YouTube channel. So feel free to look at it also afterwards and share it around with your network. Now I will be handing it over to Giuseppe to introduce himself. Then you will hear a little bit about Cici, and then the success story starts. I will see you again in the end.
Thanks, Sophia. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this like one more webinar in a long series of webinars. But this is kind of special because we're doing it together. One of our probably the most important client we have in Sweden, and as Fia said, it's like someone who are also become friend with. And I'm Giuseppe de Simone. I'm a leadership and agile coach and trainer at Agile 42. I've been doing this job for more than 10 years, and since the beginning of 2018, I'm also managing director of Agile 42 office in Sweden. So I'm now like, I want to take more time, so I'm handing over to Cecilia, who will walk us through the story of Swedbank, a little bit of story of our collaboration together.
Thank you. So, hi, can you see me?
Yes.
Good, because I see you, Giuseppe, just checking. So my name is Cecilia Kåhrström, and I'm currently head of I&O Office at Digital Banking and IT in Swedbank. And already there, I had a lot of abbreviations. So Swedbank, I guess you know, I will talk a bit more about Swedbank. I&O stands for Infrastructure and Operations. So we are actually operating and maintaining the IT part of Swedbank. So working with platforms, infrastructure, and databases and workplaces and all that. So I also want to share my profile and contacts if you want to be in contact with me. I've been in the bank for about 30 years and in different areas in the bank, but currently in I&O Office. So next slide, Sophia. So I will do a short presentation about Swedbank. Here are our four home markets. And in this page, you can see the inhabitants in each country, how many private customers, corporate customers, branches, and employees. So just to get a picture of where we are, where our home markets are. Next slide. Here our vision. We enable people, businesses, and society to grow. We have our values, and those we have had, I don't know how many years now, but they're really anchored in the organization. And we actually did a cultural assessment currently in Swedbank as a whole with the CEO wanted to do that. He was new in the bank, and here we could see that these values are still very valid. So he don't want to change it. He doesn't want to change it, and I think that's good. Maybe to add one. Let's see. So I like that we are so really feel we are Swedbankers, and we really feel those values close to us. The purpose is that we promote a sound and sustainable financial situation for the many households and businesses. So then next slide. So our private customers, almost half of the population in our home markets are Swedbank customers. And there are some few things we can help you with. I hope you all are Swedbank customers. Loans and mortgages, savings and investments, payment services, pension, insurance, private banking. So those usual stuff. And next slide. And then we have our corporate customers, and here we offer expertise in the following areas. I will not read them, but there you can see what we provide. So that's us, Swedbank. Now to what we should talk about, and that is our success story with Agile 42. And I think it started somewhere around 2018. And it's been a really good journey that I would like to share with you all. So if we go to the next slide, I try to do some kind of brainstorming in my own head, just to remember, because things are happening so fast, and this was, as I said, we started some years ago, and we did so many good things together. So I just put everything in here, and would like to walk you through a part of it. On the left side, it's more like we started off with Agile 42, and then on the right side, it's more like what we then continued doing, still doing. So if you look at the left side, one good thing that we did is this Agile Foundation for everyone. Now I'm not talking for the full of Sweden, not the whole Swedbank. I talk about infrastructure operations now, and Group IT, as we were called by then. But everyone should do this Agile Foundation, and I think that that was really good, that we discussed the Agile manifest and what Agile stands for, and how we could adapt that into our own business, and everyone had the chance to really understand and discuss and get the same wording for what this is. This was really, I think, important and good. There was a struggle, though, to get everyone to maybe join, due to that people are very busy, and this was quite some time they needed to spend on this, and we have people working 24/7 in shift and so on. So it was, as I remember, a bit of a struggle to really get everyone on board, and also all the new recruited people and so on. But in most, I think, I don't know how many percent we actually managed to have on this foundation, but it was a lot. So it was really good. Then we had this Agile coaching with several teams and leaders. So it was more like closer to the teams, looking at their business, what challenges they have, and how they can apply this Agile way of working. Because as we are working in operations, we are not working that much with development. And I mean, this Agile way of working is done more or less for development. So that was a lot of discussions, actually. Why did we do this, and how does this really help us in our work? But we try to think more about how to work with collaboration, less control, reduce waste, and all those kind of things. Think about your customer and find the best value, what you're delivering, and so on. So try to think a bit in a different way, not only to act on incidents and so on. We have at least now start to measure delivery instead of time spent and costs. We are really trying to shift and work more with minimal viable products and try to measure that in a good way. We're getting there, but it's a bit hard actually. We did our own, see in the middle there it says SWAP, Agile Office and Tools. And SWAP is Swedbank Agile Process. And I guess that Agile 42 was really influencing us in that journey as well, building that process. So it is a process where we had taken a lot of things from the development process and also the ITIL processes, looking at this best practices in IT operations, try to merge in a good way and then set the agile way working into it. So it's been quite what to say, it's a big process. It's been a lot of changes to change our way of working, but it has also I think I don't know how many versions, if two new updates every year in SWAP, because we need to adjust it all the time because we are growing, we are changing, and we need to here also be a bit agile with the agile process, so to say. So we have an Agile Office in Swedbank where we have coaches right now, and we also have people responsible for the processes, the agile processes and so on, and the tools. We use Jira mostly, and other tools as well. What else? I would like also the bubbles that are a bit more lighter in the color. I would like Giuseppe's help, as I hasn't been involved in everything. It would be good to hear your words as well about our cooperation there. So I hand over to you, Giuseppe, for those.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say, like, I'm really happy about how you visualize the things here, because show what we strongly believe in, that we want, help our clients to build capabilities that will allow them to continue on their own even after we leave. So the fact that you have so many bubbles on the right side, it's kind of a sign of extremely pride for me, because this means that, we succeeded in that we were able to then continue on your own, because that's basically what we consider our mission. But I mean, as you said, we started in June 2018, and I still remember the first conversation we had with the head of I&O at that time, and the initial intention was that, like, taking what has been done in the rest of the bank and just try to implement it. And then we had some conversation, and the leadership team understood the importance, instead of taking maybe a step back and try to understand where you are and where you stand as Group IT. And that's why the first thing we did was to have an assessment of the organization and culture, because whenever you do a change in a complex environment, then, of course, it's important to understand where you want to go, but it's even more important to understand where you stand, right? And especially in a big corporate and in a banking institution like Swedbank, we want to understand also what was like the specific culture of Group IT, and you and the rest of the leaders understood really, really well and really soon how this was important. And of course, it turns out that the organization was very much a culture focusing on control and quality and regulations. And then, of course, it was obvious that if we want to introduce agile frameworks or a Scrum way of working that is more focusing on collaboration, we had to nudge the culture a little bit. Otherwise, just introducing Scrum or pushing any other process would have been like, creating a lot of friction and a lot of resistance, right? And we know, and this is also one of our mantra, that we know that pushing change on people doesn't work. Instead, we need to help people to adapt their mindset so they are able and become the best they can, so they're able to come up with their own way of working. And specifically, since it was into operation, it was also fun also for people to say, hey, we are different, so we can, on one side we have a little bit harder time, but on the other side we have even more possibility to be creative and to come up with new solutions. That also, I think, was a big thing for people, that they felt a little bit more proud. Hey, we're doing a big thing. And then, of course, as its next step, we we try to say, okay, then what is the strategy? How can we work on the culture to intentionally, like how can we create small experiment to nudge the culture in the right way? And you all understand that everything has to start from leadership behaviors, and that's why we spend a lot of effort in growing leaders. And I must say that probably in the end, with all the things you did, you became probably the most knowledgeable leaders in Swedbank, in terms of what it takes to be an agile leader. And in particular, then, if we take about, your structure and your value stream that you call tech stream, another thing that we realized is that probably all teams were busy in too many different things, and there was too many dependencies. So there was a need to organize the portfolio on a tech stream level in a more focused way, and so that the team could collaborate on the most important thing. And that's why also what we think, and this is the bubble on the bottom, we deliver some common system design education to all tech stream leadership teams, so that they could actually understand how they can do things in a proper way and collaborate to have their team focus on the most important things. I mean, this was like some of the first step, and I'm happy to see that you continued on that way. So can you also walk us through the rest of the things that you continued on your own?
Exactly, I would definitely do that. And as you said, our leaders and managers were really like good agile leaders. And I think that we in the management team, we created this management action team. I think it came from you, Giuseppe, as well, as a proposal that this is something you need to have, an action team that really looks into the impediments from the organization and support everyone in a good way, and also work with your own development in the management team. And we tried this out for I don't know how long, 1.5 years maybe, or 1 year, and we did it. So it was mostly to learn the Scrum methodology in the management team, and we had sprints, and we had sprint planning, and we had sprint reviews with our stakeholders. It was a bit tricky. We had a Scrum master, but you really learned a lot about like this way of working. And now we have actually done a review of that MAT team and see, okay, have we really done it's good? Does it really support us? Because we were a bit lost after 1.5 years, because we tended to work with operational matters anyway, even though we really tried to focus on we put in the operational things, because as said, we are very regulated. We need to work with compliance. We have so many things that we need to do. And so we didn't have time for development. So now we have once we need to look into this MAT team, that we need to do what was meant and work with impediments and strategy and improvements. And then we have put all the operational things on another meeting because it didn't work really good. So we are doing a restart actually in October. So let's see. So that was about the MAT team, but it learned us a lot about the way of working actually. Then also we have in the middle there is Group IT 2.0. So that was actually our new agile setup with the tech stream, as you said, Giuseppe. We reorganized and recruited agile roles, and to recruit Scrum Master, that was, I think, the most crucial thing to do, to be able to really change the way of working. So that has, I think, given the team a lot of good practice, especially now when we don't work with you as coaches. I think we really need those Scrum Masters. And we also worked with competence shift. For example, me and my team, we had 15 project managers, but that you have in waterfall way of working, in an agile way of working, and according to SWOP, we shouldn't have that many project managers. So there we did a competence shift, and many of the project managers went into Scrum Mastering, Scrum Masters, or Agile product owners. And then some of them also continue to work as program coordinators. So we reshaped that role a bit. So we recruited a lot of them product owners and team managers as well, and Scrum Masters. And then we also looked into the teams, of course, that was really important to make this team T-shaped. Worked with skill matrix to grow the team and think team delivery and not like a delivery from individual resources. And that has also been a struggle, and we are not there yet, but we're continuing working with that. We have had Agile forums this week. Actually, last week we had a meet up with all our product owners in I&O to really work on this collaboration between tech streams, because we are, as you said, we have reorganized to be more end-to-end, but it's really difficult to be that in an I&O organization. So we need to collaborate because we still have a lot of dependencies. So we have this, call it priority alignment meeting, where we help each other to reach our goals by collaborating and take away that so many dependencies as possible. So that was now in digital form, this forum. So it was interesting, but very good. And then we also we have the bubble there, culture workshops cross tech streams. That was extremely important, because during the journey with you in Agile 42, we looked a lot into workshops we had, as I said, Agile Foundation for everyone, and then you were coaching teams and leaders. But what we saw that we needed was to work more cross as well with the culture change, because we lost a bit track of the different silos. We had tech streams, and then they were working really close to each other, but we lost the connection. So then we have had the culture workshops cross, where we mixed the teams cross different tech stream, if you understand what I mean. So I think you really left us with a lot of good competence, how to continue. Then we have continued a bit of our own, but I think we have done it really good. But it's a lot of thanks to you guys that we have all this good knowledge and material actually from you. So I think that was all the bubbles. So should I go take next slide then, so we can come to the questions? So next slide is more like you just visualize some of the works. If you look in the, if we start on the right corner below, there's a management team. We had some strategy workshop probably, trying to find out what we should stop doing and find out a good strategy for our management team. But we did it in a new way, so I think that was really good. On the left side, that picture I got from you, Giuseppe, was a competence mapping. Was it a network team or?
This was, I think, the network security team.
Yeah, exactly. So here's about what I say, job skill matrix and building competence and visualize where we have competence and where we have gaps, I guess, and where we can grow and so to really to deliver as a team. And then on top we have the posters. As we had the good opportunity that we were moving to new premises at the same time as we reorganized, we also launched these posters or put them on the walls to a bit state different, what are the different roles, how for example, who has the mandate to prioritize, think about add nothing but value, more to help us to think when we are passing in the corridors, we have this message. So not to forget that we should work agile, because it's so easy to go back to your normal, comfort zone. So just to visualize the journey a bit for you. And then, did I have one more slide, Sophia? No, didn't. So that is questions. So I hope you were able to follow.
Yeah, thank you, Cici, for this presentation. We have already a lot of questions, and just a heads up to Fia that we also have a couple of questions in the chat, so maybe we don't forget that as well. But maybe I would like to start you know, by asking a few questions to you from my side, and then, you know, maybe we hand over to the interesting question we have from the audience. I mean, first thing is that I would like, you know, also to clarify a little bit, you know, going back to the start of the journey, like, how do you feel, what were your biggest challenges at the moment? I mean, when you started this journey, what were the impact of those challenges? Because I have my view, but I would like, you know, you to explain from your side.
I think it's still that we are still not the development department, and we are very, as I said, regulated. We need to be really compliant. We have financial inspection checking us up all the time. So we think sometimes this to be agile is also a bit, to be a bit loose, so to say, and to be able to prioritize. But it's not that easy all the time, because you are getting so many things from the side. So I think the trick really to find that you need to create some space for this to be creative and not controlled, and to collaborate, to really not to lose this side. It's difficult because you're so overloaded with incidents, problems, compliant issues, reports you need to do, and so on. So that is a tricky for many of us. I think that's the hardest, and that we knew already from the beginning.
I mean, of course, keeping agility in a highly regulated environment is, of course, like a big challenge. I also meant, like, okay, what were you know, the things you had hard time with? And one thing I remember that was, by the way, also in the goal of your strategy at the beginning was like try to increase the employee engagement, right? Because at that time, I remember there was like some struggle, and then in the end, you know, I think you had some target, and I remember in less than 1 year, it was like even going above your target, which was excellent. I'm just like why employee engagement was so important for you, like that you even put it like one of the, you know, in the goal of your strategic work.
I mean, our resources are the most important. I mean, it's a competence company, so we need to have engaged people, and also we need to have people we can trust. So to keep also good people is important. And as you said, I didn't mention that, but we are actually above our expectations when it comes to engagement and motivation right now, even if we are in digital or working outside office now. It's really good. So but it's, of course, it's important, and as well as we are having so many dependencies still towards each other and other areas outside I&O, it's important to be engaged and to actually be motivated. Otherwise, I think we will fail. So that's the most people first, we try to say.
Yeah, that was amazed. I think, you know, you were the first one amazed, because your target was pretty challenging. Like, you want to increase like by something like by 20 times, I think, the employee engagement, and you actually succeeded. So it was like a great thing. I mean, going back to what I said before, I think one of the most important factors of your story success is really the fact that you as leadership understood, you know, pretty early that agility could not be achieved just by buying and deploying a predefined process, even though you had this process in the company, and you know, like also other organizations in the company have tried, you know, to buy some of the, you know, framework that are on the market. But you understood that this was not enough, and also, if you want to really achieve your strategy and also retain your competitive edge and retain your competence and that, to be honest, it was pretty amazing to observe how fast you and the other people in the leadership team get to this point. How you get it like this compared to other leaders I met. I mean, not only inside but also outside Swedbank, that, you know, usually have the temptation or fall into temptation to just look for a prepackaged solution. Give me the solution, I just want to implement that. But you understand that it was something that you should start from where we are and build iterative incremental, right? So what do you think was the trigger for you to get that understanding? Like, what triggered you to say, haha, like we got this, and then we will persevere on this on this way? Because regardless of the challenges, you persevered a lot on that side.
It's a difficult question, I think, but I think we as a management team are quite close. I mean, we have long history, many of us, and we really we're quite tight, I could say, in the management team, and that goes also for the organization as such. We are a very supportive and collaborative unit, but we still saw that we need to change together. So I don't know if I have the answer on that actually, what triggered it and what was. But I think it's that we are quite close organization, that I have heard at least from people that has come to us and that has left us for other areas. And that probably is a strength. It's easier than to how to say, understand where we stand and understand where we want to go. I don't know, that's only my own thinking. Supportive and open. We have this, as I said, our values, open, caring, and simple. I think that is also a carrier, that we are really trying to be open.
Yeah, I remember, you know, you were like obsessed by being true to yourself. I remember you, when we had the leadership team or the math team events and so on, you were always, every time we did something where someone says that, hey, but you know, is this not Scrum, or is this, are we still pushing or pulling? And you were keep challenging.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were keep challenging yourself about, you know, trying to be a role model and understand, which was, I think, really, really amazing. One more question is that, you know, in the case study that we publish and then we are, you know, sharing with everyone, I like, yeah, I mean, I like one sentence that you said in the interview that you made you for preparing the case study, which I think it is crucial because this is a sort of, you know, byproduct, important byproduct that is beyond and besides the more tangible results that you achieve. And you said, I'm reading the sentence, I believe that the type of environment that we are creating now is more open to changes and improvements, which I'm sure will benefit us in the future. I would like to ask you, what makes you say that? And what are the benefits that you expect in the future just by, you know, by creating this new environment, which is, I mean, a cultural thing? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's in a lot of big organizations, you need to adapt and you need to change all the time. So to be able to do that, you need to have an open environment and not to be too, has too long plans that is too like in such a frame that you cannot change during the time. So working agile, be open to change, it's really crucial, and I think our type of environment is has really been open to that. And in this also way of working, when we are very open to each other about the goals, and also if we don't succeed, we can easily go back and discuss, okay, why didn't we succeed, and what should we take another way, so to say. So once again, that we are quite close, we are quite, I think right now at least, a lot of people feel that we have our priorities and our goals quite aligned. We know where to go, but we can also change. So I think it's, we are very open to change right now.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a couple of more
bad
questions.
Answer, but I hope you're satisfied.
I'm satisfied, and I mean, I know a little bit why. I just want you to say to the others, right? So I understand.
Yeah, exactly, I understand.
But I see there are like a lot of questions, so I just would like to ask a couple of more, and then we leave it to the audience because it's a long list. So you said what was the most difficult thing, right, along the journey, and also when you start. I'm also curious about, was there anything that surprised you along the journey? What surprised you most? Something that you did not expect?
I didn't expect that we actually are so open that we are. I think that we are, you know, we are a lot of engineers sitting in, working, you know, quite with their problems and so on. But my feeling is that we are very collaborative. And I didn't know that 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I think is also something that is really important. and that we have a management team at that time that was also quite open to adapt and open to changes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree this was surprising for me, but on the other side, as a credit for you, this is something that does not happen by chance. I think it was also a consequence of what we said before, like, you know, understanding the importance of the cultural aspects and the importance of in this, to change the culture. You cannot change a culture with a program, right? With like make a plan, but the only way to change a culture is by leadership showing right behavior that can then influence what people believe is right or wrong. So I think observing you being so open and collaborative is anyway, either nudge people in doing that, or simply, you know, giving people the courage to show themselves as a collaborative and not just like, you know, I'm an engineer and so I'm here to do my job and just focus on this. So I think that's one. So the last question from me is about you mentioned a little bit already that now in October also, like, there is a little bit of retrospective you're doing, which is great. What are the next steps that you have in mind? Because you said it's, you know, being agile is really like believing in an iterative incremental approach and reflection and change and so on. So what are the next steps in front of you?
I think the next step is to continue to work with culture in Swedbank, but that is nothing that we would do on our own. So we needed to stop that for a while, as Jens, the CEO, wanted to do a culture assessment for the Swedbank. So I think that is something we are waiting for, actually, to see what comes from there. But that is there we have probably another journey to do as well, because we still need to work on this to be compliant and to be accountable, and, you know, and we have a lot of things regarding leadership. So, but that's more as Swedbank as a full company, and we are little parts. So we have done our journey. But we need to adjust to that journey as well now, and see how we can change and adapt to what our CEO wants, or what we all want, because he has done a big assessment. So I guess it's not only what he thinks. So that is one step. Then as we had done a retrospective in the management team, we will see how we can continue working with our agile journey. And then we have also merged with digital banking. Before we were only IT, now we are, instead of 500 people, we are 1,500 people. So I think we also here need to step back a bit and wait and see what happens, actually. So as we are this right now small part, we need to be open for change and so on. So, but we will not, I don't hope we will not drop this, what we have learned now, and continue. We're also looking into SAFE, how to work with that, as we are such a big company. So let's see. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
As we have this pandemic as well, it's a bit, it stopped us a bit, actually.
Yeah. You know, and we can come back and take this safe away and help you continue on the journey if you want. Okay, thank you so much. I think I would like to leave it to Fia. We have 20 minutes more and we have, like, I don't know, 30 questions or what. So I don't know. Like, I think we can answer as many as we can, and then maybe we try to answer the rest in a different way. So let's see. So Fia.
Yeah, thank you both, Cici and Giuseppe. It was really interesting to listen to the story, and I must say I'm amazed. I have attended a lot of webinars, but never seen these many questions popping out. So this is very good. So let me start with one of the questions here. I'm going to take them a little bit randomly, just so everyone knows. But this one is to Cecilia. How big was the initial team responsible for the transformation, and what roles was it the team? Like agile coaches, change managers, and so on.
Just to understand, how big was the team responsible for the change, or the team for delivery?
The question is about the transformation, so maybe take the change approach.
Yeah, I mean, the management team is, I think it have differed, but the management team in I&O are like 8, I think. So we have been driving the journey and very close together with HR as well.
Okay, thank
And
you.
And then we have, as I said, the organization is 500, so all the managers has of course been a part of the journey in each area.
If I can
Okay.
add one thing, I think this was a key success factors, because you understood that you could not delegate it to someone else, but you need to take it, you know, first person. So yeah, that was important. The leadership team was on top of this.
Okay, so on to the next one. Are your Scrum Masters full-time Scrum Masters, or do they also have other roles within the team, such as, for example, tester, dev, UX?
It differs, but I think when we started, we hired some full-time, but then realized that I think we have some that maybe have also 2 teams, actually, the ones working full-time. But I think most of them are not working full-time. They are supporting whatever is needed in the team. It differs a lot. We have a lot of different teams. So again, here we are really, I would say, open for different ways of working in each team.
Okay, thank you. Then here's a little bit of a longer question, so let me know if you want me to repeat it. But it goes like this. It's very appreciable that the concept like MVP was used in a financial bank environment. So the question is, I am used to see Kanban system design in different work environments than yours. So does Kanban give you real advantages in your daily work and your ecosystem?
As I'm not myself working in the teams, it's very tricky for me to say. What I know is that a lot of people have tried Scrum, but then went into using Kanban boards instead. So I mean, I can't answer actually.
If I can add,
I can take. Maybe you can.
Yeah, if I can add, because I mentioned the Kanban system design, and this was not like on an operational level, but it was more on a coordination level. If you know the flight levels, I mean, I'm answering to the person. So it was more on a coordination level. So it was intended for the tech stream leadership to have a portfolio so they can, you know, follow up and reduce the work in progress inside their tech stream. Then on an operational level, what each team could do differed. So a lot of teams have been doing Scrum. I mean, some teams have been also help other teams to adopt Kanban, but of course it varied a lot, and it actually didn't really matter, right? So because and some have been doing, and to me Kanban is more a management system. It's about like how you manage things, and so that's why we focus on this coordination level. And then the next step would have been on the strategic level, but we never had time to get there, and then having a portfolio on the whole group IT level. And maybe this might be one of your next steps, Cici, having one portfolio for the whole digital banking, right?
Yeah. Whenever, let's see.
Then here's another question. So what has triggered the need for this change, and was this supported by senior managers like C-level or below?
It triggered a long time ago when we had another organization. Actually, we had a person really driving this agile journey, and then we were merged with development. So we had an organization with both development, maintenance, and operation, and we were 1,500 people by then, I think. And then what was the trigger was actually, I mean, it was all over the markets that we need to go agile for the development side. And then we needed to follow in infrastructure and operations. So the trigger was outside our control, I should say.
Thank you. What was the general reaction when there were gaps identified in the skills and individuals had to maybe learn new things or unlearn things?
I mean, that is very individual. For some, I think it was like all changes, it is a resistance in the beginning. And then for the majority, at least, I think when you at least for my people that were in project manager, when you then realize that maybe I should do something else, or maybe it's not like we will not have that many in this role. There are actually other opportunity in the bank, because we really try to take care of our people and give a chance to give new competence. So we had this competence program where you could actually learn the new role, and we gave them a lot of opportunities and a lot of trainings and coaching. So I think most, I don't know, we'd say 80-20 where it was good, and you actually learn new things and you could change role and you saw it more like an opportunity. And of course there were also people maybe that didn't like it. But not that many as I remember.
Yeah, I also think that, you know, the approach that we all used in to try to not to push anything on people, but try to, you know, to just show that we care about people and we want to make them the best they can. I think then this was like well accepted, and everyone understood, and we try actually to make the need for more competence emerge. I mean, you show the competence assessment as one tool. I mean, we did other workshops using another tool called market of skills, and so that this was emerging, and some other, you know, manager had this conversation with the people. So it was like, I think some people realized that there was a need to have more competence or broader competences to make this work also.
Yeah, I think we were open, and also we gave them time. So it wasn't like from one day to another. So it was quite a long time that you could adapt. I think that was good.
Thank you, guys. Then here's a question. What was the challenge in getting the leadership involved from the beginning and not just the team?
Maybe I can answer.
I don't remember it as a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer this. It was no challenge at all, I would say. I would say the only challenge was just to you know, have a couple of, we just had a couple of phone conversations with Tarmo, who was the head of I&O at the moment, and then became interim CIO. And I think after a couple of he was like really open and start trusting what we were saying, because it just resonated with him that this cannot only be like, okay, let's train everybody 2 hours, because at the beginning someone will say, let's have 2 hours education for everyone and let's push the new role and that's it. And I think he understood. And then once he understood, you know, I think explaining to the other leaders in the leadership team was pretty easy. But on the other side, also the plan that we proposed was in a way, you know, I think meaningful. When we talk about assessment, then we immediately start with two days of education for leadership, which ended up in a strategy workshop. So I see someone say, what do you mean by customized strategy leadership workshop? It was exactly like this. It was like 2 days leadership foundation, when we touched about, you know, strategy for changing and the leadership behaviors and complexity with Knebing, and you understood all this. And then we ended up in creating a strategy using, you know, our organic agility agile strategy map tool as a support to come up with goal, with possible success factors, and with experiment to nudge the organization towards the right culture and the goal of having, for instance, a certain employee engagement, or having, I remember one other goal was to reduce the lead time of the delivery of the top 10 services to less than 24 hours. So there was some hard and some, and so this was done by usual, like, you know, if you want to involve people, whatever it's a leader of people, the key word is co-create. You need to co-create things with others so they can get ownership. So, but I agree, it was not hard at all.
I think it was mostly fun. I think we were into it and really energized, I should say.
So how much did then this new culture spread up to the rest of the organization, or was limited now to IT and OP?
Development side has done the same journey, partly. I mean, we have done so many reorganizations, so it's difficult to keep track right now, and some people are actually going their own way. But in the development side, I should say that it's the same. They also work with this a lot. But the bank is big, so if you go then to other areas, then it's they don't. So I mean, we would like to have it from the business down to operations, so to say. But I don't think we have the full flow yet. So let's see if that will happen. So it's more within IT.
Thank you. Then here's a question about how much freedom do the teams have to define their agile way of working? Do they use metrics and care about them?
Yes, we are using a lot of metrics. What we want, what I think the question is about, is the team's metrics and really measure performance. And some teams are better than others. We really want to, we would like, I mean, I think we are so used to getting metrics from finance, from HR, from, you know, wherever. So we don't think about that we can do it for ourselves, but we are discussing it a lot. But see, it's a bit tricky actually to sometimes to measure your own delivery in a good way, not only to see how many queues do you have or how long is the queue, but really to measure the delivery. So, but we are working on it. So we have it as a focus area, one could say, but not everyone feels it so easy. Long answer again.
No, that's perfectly fine. Here's another question again about the challenges that are popping up quite much. So maybe you can just once again mention what sort of challenges did you face from the middle management in the Agile transformation journey?
I think the biggest challenge that we have had is that we are working with operations and not development. To really understand that we can do it in our own way. We don't need to how to say, there are different ways to be agile. It's more a mindset and a culture shift, and to think about that more than to think about tools and processes. So think about this mindset. And that, I think, it's a learning journey. We know it in the back of our heads, but to really adapt it when you're so stressed with all the things coming in, so to say, that is the biggest challenge. To find time to work with that.
Okay. Do you observe any Scrum or Agile limits or weaknesses in the banking environment? Do you consider other alternatives like, for example, Lean or Safe?
Yeah, Safe we're looking into. I have tried it out, not in I&O, but in the bank we are on the development side. They are trying Safe. But that was also something we needed to not stop, but to slow down now when we have this pandemic.
Okay. Then here's a question. You have mentioned introducing a role called team manager. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yes, we have, how to say, cooperative leadership. We have the Agile product owner, and he is owner of the products and the delivery, and the team manager is working with the people, working with recruitment, competence development, team development, and all those kind of things. So that is team manager role actually, to work only with people, and because we have seen that usually the people working with techniques maybe not that into people management. So we have thought that this is a good way to divide, but there are also people that actually are both team managers and project owners, but those roles are like specified in different ways, but you can be both. That can work if you don't have too big team. So we have several of those actually. The team manager usually could have like 20-25 people, while the APO have a team of maybe 5 or 7 people.
Thank you. Then here's one question. Can you tell us more about how you measure delivery?
Oh, that was a tricky question for me. As said, we are trying to measure this now. And we have our agile process called SWAP, where we have different checkpoints, what you need to pass. And there you can measure the delivered MVPs as well. So that is, I think, the way we measure delivery. Then we also still measure delivery by actually see that we are using our development money, so to say. So that is also, we are spending what we plan to spend and so on. But that is not really measuring value. So we are still actually looking into measuring value. So then it's MVP, and then of course we have customer satisfaction, those kind of measurements as well. But that is quite hard, I think, to do that. So any ideas? Maybe you can send me.
Yeah, they have your contact details, so
yeah.
aware.
But also, as we said, that it's good also that each team think about how they measure their delivery actually. So there are some teams doing that. So, but then it's more a bit up to the teams to measure, not nothing that is stated from the top management.
Thank you. While we're talking about measuring stuff, here's a question also about how do you measure employee engagements?
That we do. We have one big human capital survey that we do now in November, I think. So that's yearly, and that's for the bank as a whole. And then we have small surveys, I think it's two or three times a year now. So we are checking several times a year, not to, if you do it only once, then it's a bit tricky, I think, because then you cannot work with the result if you don't know if it's good after 1 year. So by smaller surveys is the answer throughout the year.
Okay. Unfortunately, time is a little bit running out, and we have still a lot of open questions here. So I would like to end with one question for now, and then we will try to figure out, as Giuseppe said, a way to answer the unanswered questions. But the last question would then be, how hard is it to be agile while the rest of the organization, in this case, business, keeps a traditional approach?
Very hard.
Can you open up?
It is a struggle actually, and we can feel that. We want to be agile. That's my feeling at least, and try to be that. But as said, sometimes we are falling back into that we need to be compliant and we need to work. Other areas don't work agile, and we are doing our services to the whole bank. So it is a struggle. But I mean, I think the key is to think about your small team and do whatever you can. And then we have our agile process that is mandatory. So I mean, and it's easy from that perspective.
Yeah, I would say another trick that we try also to encourage people, and this is something that I always do when working with customer in regulatory environments, that like encourage the people to when they get a request from outside, start asking, okay, what the problem we're trying to solve with this? So why are you asking this? Because maybe, you might still fulfill that regulation, that requirements, but maybe in a different, more like smarter or more agile way. And that's also a way, to try to keep this coexistence, which of course it's not easy, but I mean, I think it has been an amazing journey also, before we started IT, also even before. So if I have to look back when I started working with Swedbank in 2016, and when we finished our journey with you, that it has been like amazing. Like it seems that nothing happens, but it's like a major leap, right? And with a lot of things to do. And there was a guy like Gianluca was saying, please don't throw all away with SAFe. Yeah.
Good. I will keep that in mind. I will tell them. So maybe we can share some info there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Cecilia, for taking time for being here with us today. Thanks, Giuseppe, also for prepping good questions and being a part also of the work with Swedbank. The success story will be shared, the recording will be shared, everything we can share with you, links and other things we will share with you in an email as soon as we get all the details for you. If you have any more questions, you can always get in touch with us. Feel free to connect on social media or send us emails as you prefer. It was very nice that you sent us these very many questions. I'm still a little bit amazed that we had so much questions today, but that's a good sign, I think. So the topic was interesting. Thanks for today, and hope to see you next time in our upcoming webinars.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sophia. Thanks a lot, Cecilia, to be with us. And I also want to thank you, all the Agile for Two coaches who worked with us at the Swedbank, which was many people. So thanks a lot.
Yes.
And thank you all for
good coaches.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.